Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. So we recently did a video of the JF-17 versus the F-16C Block 50 testing the maximum sustained turn rate of the aircraft. And the reason I do that is because I test all, if you like, parameters of DCS fighters: turn rates, roll rates, climb rates, acceleration rates, speeds, deaccelerations, whatever. And that's because A, it's interesting and it makes me happy, and B, it keeps ED true, right? Because we've got some empirical evidence of what they're needs doing. On that particular video, which had the F-16 in and the JF-17, I was very unhappy with the performance of the F-16C. I didn't have any data available, so I didn't say it was wrong, but I just, I was unhappy. It's my favorite plane. I want it to be the best. And what we got in those tests, I've got the GR test here, is that we achieved a maximum in the F-16C Block 50 in a window of 400 to 440 TAS. I suppose I should get that in Mach. And the maximum was 20 degrees per second, give or take a few tenths. And the JF-17, which is a smaller fighter that costs, a third or a quarter as much, actually got a better turn rate at 21 degrees per second. And that really knocked me off. And so I had a moan, but otherwise left it as that, put it into the scoreboard here. So I then had the red phone rang. We have a special hotline, a big shiny red phone like you do in Batman, one of the old dial type phones. And our Lord and Saviour, Mr. Matt Wagner, gave me a shout, because they spotted this video that we did. In fact, just within a few hours, ED response time is getting like minutes rather than hours or days to pick this up. So we're going to start from Matt's message to me. Please find attached an image of the EM diagram for the F-16 Block 50, which we've actually struggled to find ourselves. We can find other variants, but not that, with the 129 engine, which is what we've got, and a drag index of 0, so no stores, or no fuel, or, minimal, at sea level. This and the other EM's altitude and drag indexes from the reference document are what we use to test the DCS Viper performance, and it is bang on. We also had a 4,200 hour Viper pilot to verify our pilot performance. In the attached, I highlighted the best sustained turn rate, with PS equals 0. That means it's sustained, your speed is not increasing or decreasing, which is set at Mach 0.65 Mach, with which I'm guessing must be bang in the middle of our 400 to 440 if someone could be bothered to go and work that out. I'm sure it is if you did that. With a turn rate of 22 degrees per second, again plus or minus a few tenths. In this short video recorded today, this is exactly what we see in the game. Note that the 9G is sustained at 0.65 Mach at a rate of 22 degrees per second. Here is also the TAC view recording that shows the sustained turn rate of 22 degrees per second. So he sent me his video and his TAC view, and I won't go show it now. It's just a few seconds long, and it's exactly as he says. It is doing 22 degrees per second at sea level with drag index 0. I'm not exactly sure why you are seeing the results you are, but it could be that your aircraft is not a drag index of 0, and that's exactly right. And or you are not managing your power versus pull. How dare you, Wagner? As best you could. If we can help you understand better how the EO diagrams are read, how performance is tested, we're here to help. Thank you for the offer. I'm kind of just about got there now, which is good. So before we go any further with that, let's have a look at the EM chart, what the EM chart is and how we read it. This is the official one from the real F-16 CJ11, whatever that means, with the F110 GE129 engine. And this is the EM chart. It looks at the turn envelope of the aircraft in various conditions. This is the base envelope with the conditions of drag index equals 0, so no missiles, nothing, no stores, no pylons, things like that. With a gross weight, so this is the weight as tested, of 22,000 pounds with whatever fuel is in the bird. On a standard day, which is what we've did, with max afterburner, max power, which is what we did. And you can see that along here, we've got the G load, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, up to 9G. That is the 9G headroom there. So max we can turn at, obviously, before our pilot explodes. Down here is the Mach, the airspeed Mach of the aircraft. I prefer it in knots, but Mach it is. These little lines in here are very important. They're called the PS. And I can't actually remember what PS stands for, my apologies. But what it essentially means is that if PS equals 0, then that is the maximum turn rate of the vehicle along this line, bearing in mind that you will not increase or decrease speed. Minus 200 means that if you turned at that turn rate there, you will decrease speed at 200 units. I think it's feet per second, but I stand to be corrected. Or it may actually be radius. One way or another, you get slower and the turn gets unsustainable. So this here is the max sustainable. Minus 400, plus 200, plus 400. So this means if you turn at this here, you can actually increase speed at 400. What we're interested in is sustained. That's what we try and test in the video as close as we can. A result of that is our result here. Our result is turn rate in degrees per second. So the way you work out the max sustainable turn rate of a fighter is you go in the envelope here, you find the PS equals 0 line, which is that. You go to the right hand side of it, or the upper hand side of it, and you draw a line left along there, and you can see you get, nearest damn it, 22 degrees per second. I think it's more like 21.65. In fact, they've drawn a red line on there just to show that. It's ever so slightly off that red line. That's Mach 0.7 there, and that goes to an absolute peak of, yeah, we just said it, 21.65. Let me write that down. That is the maximum that Viper in real life and in DCS can achieve with the parameters as we showed there. Note that we have the modifier boxes. We can modify this for gross weight changes, for temperature effects, and for radius temperature effects. And that's one thing I missed out, turn radius, and you can see the minimum radius is there, right there at 1,060 feet, and you can see the radius gets bigger and bigger, 20,000 feet there. So it also shows us the minimum radius as modelled in DCS and on the real aircraft. The one we're interested in is the gross weight modifier. Now, note that Wags does his with no fuel or what he would call a drag index of 0, whatever fuel that is. It's like 500 pounds of fuel or something. It showed in his video. We do ours at 50% gas, and that's people have complained about that, and I wish I could change it now, but I've done lots of work to test all of these and other planes, and I've done it all at 50% gas. I'm not going to go back and change it because it would take probably days to go and change them all. The reason I did it at 50% gas is because this is what I call the most useful thing that I test. Acceleration, top speed and stuff is all cool and stuff, but it's not actually any use. It has no relevance in combat. Because in real life, you're going to go and put missiles and lots of fuel in your plane. You know, it's just not relevant. This is a really useful one. It is important. And so I've done it at the most likely fuel scenario that you'll face in a dogfight, which is 50% gas, or the flanker and the J11 are at 30% gas. Or, sorry, the J11 at least. I forgot to do the flankers, these flankers at 30%, because their fuel tanks work differently. So we've got 50% gas in our F-16C Block 50. So we need to do a modifier. So what is the gross weight of my F-16 with 50% gas? It is 23775 pounds. So what we need now is to use this modifier with the change in weight in mind. The change in weight is 1,775 pounds. It'd be useful to zoom in here, but so I'm going to say that's 22,000. So it's about there, you know, between friends, it's something like that. Do a vertical up, and we're using this modifier line here, equal to or less than Mach 0.9, which it is. So intersect there. It's going to intersect about there. Go along here, and we get -2 as a modifier of -2 degrees per second. So we take our maximum at Wagner's weight here of 21.65. We take away 2 degrees per second, and of course we get 19.65 degrees per second. If we were round that up, we will get 20 degrees per second, and exactly what we see at the very beginning here when I did my test of 20 degrees per second. So everything is confirmed here exactly as it should be. The F-16 B-50 with 50% gas should achieve in real life and in DCS 20 degrees per second or a smidgen under. I round these up to the nearest half, and that's exactly what it shows. So one thing we can say, it is accurate. Is the JF-17 accurate? No idea, but you know, we have to assume that it is. We have to assume that all these planes have worked to the EM chart. The only one that I'll be interested in after this is if Wags or anyone out there could send me their EM charts that they use for the FA-18. The only contentious one left really is the FA-18. No one I speak to believes that in real life it could do 22 degrees per second at 420 TAS. So it'd be nice if anyone could send the exact Block 20 EM charts over, and we could do another video analysing that to prove to the people that DCS has got it right. So thank you for the response from ED. That was very professional and good of you. Anything you want to add to that, Super RC?
Nope, that looks good.
Lovely. I hope that was useful, and see you later.